As a youngling in the 90s, I stumbled across the Spider-Man cartoon. The Spider-Man cartoon, and I instantly became obsessed. I would watch the show religiously. I got the Spider-Man outfit and what toys I could. I'd even insist on moving to somewhere with taller buildings so I'd be able to web sling. This is where I realized I don't actually have Spider-Man's powers. And just when your boy was feeling low, I found Spider-Man on PS1. Now I could be Spider-Man. And holy Tobey Maguire, I loved this game. However, there were a couple flaws. Spider-Man's webs went straight to the heavens. You can't actually see the streets or even most of the buildings, let alone swing freely through New York. This is where Spider-Man 2, the game, changed everything. You could now do everything a spider can, and Peter Parker. Now I could sit here and tell you how great the game was, but that's not why we are here. I thought Spider-Man 2 was the closest thing we'd be able to get to being Spider-Man, but then came Insomniac Spider-Man, swinging in and webbing up all other Spider-Man games and telling our nostalgia that it could do better. Hi everyone, I'm Papa's Game. Please like and subscribe if you like this video, or even if you don't. This deep dive is going to be a bit different from my last. I'm just going to kind of talk about the game in a non-linear sort of way. I think if I would go from scene to scene, I would probably end up a Spider-Man villain myself. Also, check out my other videos. I do funny moments in games and I stream. First things first, I'd love to make this statement. Dear Insomniac, why oh why would you change Peter Parker? He was perfect. He was like a mix of all the Spider-Mans, and you replaced him with this guy. Who's this? Peter Poser? When I first played through the game, I immediately said yes. This is Peter Parker. This is Spider-Man. Now when Spider-Man 2 comes out, I'm going to have a shock who's under the mask because I'm going to forget it's not my guy. Whoops, I never ended the statement. Look, I'm not being toxic here. At all. If this is their vision, then that's fine. I personally don't know why they thought it was a good idea to change him though. Now I'm done crying about what Peter Parker looks like. I want to talk about the intro. The way the camera pans over the newspaper clippings showing defeated foes and Spidey tech half worked on left out on the desk. To the post-it note reminders to himself, it shows clearly this is the Spider-Man 8 years into his superhero career. You get that feeling. Also, the suit-up scene is just so damn good. The combat and traversal in this game is what makes you feel like Spidey though. With each web swing, each kick to a goon's face seems so fluid, so... well, Spider-Man I guess. Every action our hero does, you feel like you're in control. And the animations are so well done, there's no way you could mess up and not look cool. This could be the first game you play and you'd still look like you know what you're doing. The web swinging is so good, I legit boot this game up every now and again to have a swing about. I think as good as the game swinging is, perhaps its biggest achievement is its story. I love what they did here, the twists you see coming and the ones you don't. I feel like Insomniac have managed to create its own Spideyverse that feels like a good mix of the old 90s show and newer adaptations of our hero meshed together. Mr. Negative is a dude I haven't seen or heard anything of before this game. I would have thought his power would be putting himself down or something. I don't care about this guy. But then after playing this game, I'm wearing a Mr. Negative t-shirt and jumping on my desk screaming to the rooftops. Because this game knows how to use villains to serve the story. The way the main villains are intertwined with Peter's life outside the tights is just genius. Martin Lee working at Feast with Aunt May and Doc Ock being Peter's mentor, and the fact you help him build his robo-death arms makes that end fight even more personal. Speaking of personal, Peter is terrible at keeping secrets, as we learn 4 people know he is Spider-Man. Now to be fair, of course, MJ and Aunt May would know, and him revealing himself to Miles is, well, because of the situation. Doc Ock is meant to be one of the smartest people in the Spideyverse, so it would make sense that he would have figured it out too. It seems more realistic this way in that, well, we have a handful of people knowing Pete's naughty secret. Let's touch on the story for a bit, shall we? So basically, Mr. Negative and his goons start seizing Fisk's assets following his arrest at the start of the game. And we learn that they're after something called Dragon's Breath. which as far as MacGuffins go, it's a pretty cool one, as it turns out that this chemical weapon made by Oscorp was in fact intended to be a cure for Osborn's son Hazza. So it all comes back to old Norman Osborn, as we learn Mr. Lee was tested on by Osborn as well with the cure, which led to his fabulous new look and, well, the death of his parents. There's a lot going on here, as once Doc Ock also goes loopy with his arms, he joins up and releases 5 other baddies from the raft. They include Scorpion, Rhino, Vulture, Electro, and Mr. Negative. This being the dramatic reveal that together they are the Sinister Six, and they kind of just wail on Spidey for a bit at the top of the raft. Spidey holds his ground, but in the end he gets thrown, discarded into the sea like a sack of old potatoes. It's a great moment that's kind of paid off, as in Octavius's lab, you see as the game goes on, his plan becomes more and more apparent. Each time you visit there as Peter, you can take a look at the whiteboard and he's drawn the raft and security points. You know, it's quite clear that the turn's going to happen. Everyone and their Uncle Ben knows the turn was always going to happen. The question always was how. And the fact that we, as Peter Parker, helped Doc Ock build his robot arms and then he turns against us, it just adds to that blow. A couple of things that were not so awesome though are stealth sections, where the game switches to MJ and later Miles. Look, they're not that bad I guess, but on the second playthrough you're itching to get through them. I think they can drag on for a bit. I think it's a good idea to break up the gameplay of being an overpowered web slinger, but at the same time that's what we're here for. Maybe these sections just shouldn't be an insta-death stealth section. Maybe there should be a different dynamic to them. I'm not too sure, I'm not a game dev, but I think they could whack something else into them to make them play better. I did enjoy snooping around Osborn's penthouse as MJ, zapping Silver Sable's cronies and knocking over experimental spiders. I really did think MJ was going to get bitten here, but of course it's our guy Miles, and I think it's perfect having 2 Spider-Men in this universe. With Pete being Miles' mentor, it gives a unique dynamic which a lot of us are looking forward to in Spider-Man 2. I did keep wondering about the reveal, whether we'll switch to Miles at some point in the game and take over from Pete, or we switch to Miles and he'll be swinging about the city, or as they did in the end by credits reveal, which was a good reveal. I really liked it. Let's talk illness, shall we? There's a lot of sick people in this game. There is a reveal late in the game at Doc Ock's lair that he's helping each of the Sinister Six with their own problems. Vulture, for instance, has cancer. Now, isn't that fun, kids? Rhino just wants to get out of his suit, poor guy. Like Spider-Man, instead of wailing on this gentle giant, why don't you just talk to him? Maybe he's just a big dude in a little suit, you know? I forget Scorpion's problem, probably a bigger tail or something. Electro wants to shine brighter, which sounds like an illness, to be honest. The biggest, I would say, spoiler moment is that Aunt May gets sick after being infected from Devil's Breath when Doc Ock releases it at Times Square. This is where Spider-Man has to set aside Peter Parker and make the ultimate sacrifice, as there is one vial of the cure, which we're told could help to save a lot of people, or he could use it to save one, Aunt May. He chooses to save everyone else in a very iconic shot, which leads me to my next point. All the way through this game, there's so many shots that just look immediately iconic. Like you could snapshot frames from this game and have it as a background or something. It truly looks spectacular. Especially in the set pieces. There's a helicopter chase that I believe is the best part of the game, as it's the most Spider-Man part of the game. You're doing all sorts of crazy things through the chase, and it ends up with you webbing up the helicopter in the coolest way possible, and then land on it in that very iconic Spider-Man pose. Mwah! Chef's kiss. Wonderful. Another favourite set piece of mine would be the truck sequence, where you're fighting on top of said truck as it speeds through the streets, webbing up foes and door surfing. Is there anything cooler? I don't think so. It's not all great though. It has the end fight with Doc Ock is very cool and iconic in itself, but the gameplay falls to very limited button pressing at the right moments, resulting in the same animations, which is a shame, as you end up fighting on the side of a building, but you end up being bored as Spidey performs the same moves and animations. Same with the Mr. Negative fight in the subway. It looks really cool, but plays pretty meh. Now, this being said, I still enjoyed these moments. I just think with a little tweaking, they could be better. I should talk about the other boss fights, as they are set pieces in themselves. You take on Shocker twice in this game. The first being a chase, in which you have to dodge his attacks while trying to get close enough to web zip to him to finish the fight. The second time is a fight in a bank, which gives us Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 vibes. This sends the Spider-Man straight up trying to kill the villain. What a shocker, am I right? The Scorpion and Rhino fight is also quite fun, taking place at the docks. You have to use containers and other objects to stun Rhino, whilst webbing up Scorpion before he shoots his goo at you. I really love the villains' dynamic here. They bicker like an old married couple, and it's fun to listen to. Taking on Elektra and Vulture, though, was so damn fun, as it's a total aerial combat boss fight above an industrial state. I think these two villains work well gameplay wise, as while you're laying the smackdown on Electro, Vulture will try to swoop in and give you a pecking. Just a real cool fight, great for photo mode. I completely forgot about the Harry Venom reveal. As one of the end credits, we get to see Norman Osborn checking in on his son, Harry, who's in a Bacta tank with the Venom symbiote, which mimics him placing his hand on the tank. Now, if that don't make you want to jump on a desk and take your shirt off and yell, hell yeah, I don't know what will. All in all, this game is amazing, with all the Easter eggs and different suits and collectibles to discover. It's a treat to come back to. I can't wait to see what happens in Spider-Man 2, and I hope you enjoyed this video, which has been a very casual rant about this game, and not so much of a lengthy deep dive. Let me know if you liked it, and we'll see where the next one takes us. Till next time, webheads, stay safe.